Welcome back to the Functional Coaches Corner. This is Kayla and Jon, and today we are talking about gut health, but more specifically, gut health testing. So we've broken down gut health, hygiene, digestive tips, and other videos, but now we're going to go into the nitty gritty of testing for what is actually going on in someone's gut health. Because we always say test, don't guess. And this, what you'll hear about today is the reason why, because there's so many different things that can be happening in the gut. Would probiotics be adding more fuel to the fire? Are we covering up something that we shouldn't be? What is actually happening? What can give us a functional look? When clients say they're going to the doctor or they're going to the GI doctor to get looked at, what typically happens there? And are your hands tied at that point? Or is there more that you can do? Let's break this down. Jon, when someone comes to you and says, hey, I'm going to go to the GI doctor because of XYZ. What typically happens at a GI doc appointment? What are they testing for? Yeah, let's dive in there.
When I usually get approached by a client, other day I was at the gym and somebody tapped me on the shoulder and like, "Hey, can I
My gosh,
talk to you?"
really? Oh,
Yeah. I was
you're
like,
like
"Oh,
a local
I didn't know
celebrity.
I was famous." No, but it's a strength and conditioning gym, so everybody knows each other. But so usually what happens is they've already been to like 45 doctors and like
Yeah.
came up short. What tends to happen with that is you've got a client and they've gone to the doctor and maybe they're going to start with their primary care doctor or whatever, or go right to like a GI doctor, a gastroenterologist, and say, I've got XYZ issue. What do we usually hear? Like heartburn, reflux, bloat. They usually don't bring up bloating with like a doctor, but they're going to be like, I got like gurgling. I've got pain in my stomach. I've got pain in my side. I've got diarrhea all the time, or constipation all the time, or can't go to the bathroom, or pressure, or whatever. Those are usually what they're going to say. Doctors go to lots of schooling, they see lots of patients, things like that. But generally, the framework is you come in, you see a doctor for 6 to 8 minutes, and they have to give you some sort of like next steps out of it. Imagine like how long, Kayla, your check-ins are probably, longer
Longer than
longer than
that.
that, right?
Actually, yeah, that's true.
Um, let alone like the first time you meet with somebody and talk about,
Right.
how you can help them and then get them set up, and that's
Mhm.
hours, right? They gotta come up with something in like 6 minutes. Usually there's, one of a couple answers. The first is like, well, we're going to do a colonoscopy or we're going to do a scoping. Colonoscopy, you go up, you clear everything out. They send a camera up the back and they look around, see if there's anything going on. Nope. Okay. Scoping, they send a camera down here, they look around, and they say there's something there or not. So these are very good for identifying structural issues or very serious issues, or, you know,
Mhm.
like Barrett's esophagus, like reflux, like stuff like that. They're also going to see like diverticulitis. They're going to see like polyps, cancerous tumors, like things, all that stuff.
Mhm.
So super important, right? Like doesn't
Right.
negate the fact of
Right.
like what we do. But usually you go there, they do that. Then it's like, I see something, I don't see something, don't see something. All right, cool. So to calm down the upper GI stuff, we're going to give you omeprazole, which is like a proton pump inhibitor. It just cuts off all acid production in your
Mhm.
stomach and it'll help, but it usually covers up an issue, as we know with like drugs, just kind of cover up an issue, don't get to the root cause of why. Or they're going to give you something for like your IBS symptoms or bloating or gurgling or pressure or whatever, which is generally kind of like they sometimes use like SSRIs, so like antidepressants,
Yeah.
to kind of like calm things down. There is some like IBS type medication that is like antispasmodic to like calm things down. And or like if you're constipated, they're going to tell you to use Miralax every day. If you're not constipated, they're going to tell you to use Modium every day. And so again, these are things that are just covering up the issue and can make things worse and can have upstream ramifications and things like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So that's generally, they see a GI doc, a couple, many, several different ones, experts. And then I get a tap on the shoulder saying like, none of that worked. I hear you can help.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can echo to that because I remember going through my GI issues and I one of my clients I was training, he was an anesthesiologist and had a really good friend who was a GI doctor. So like he kind of just like got me right in, which is very fortunate for that. Like that's not typically how it works. And so I got in, they did a scope, put me asleep, all of that. Nothing came up. And I don't remember having a resolution at all.
Yeah.
Actually, I really don't. I really don't. I continued to struggle for years after that.
Yeah. And I mean, they're trying to do their best, but it's
Sure.
just the confines of
Sure. Yeah.
how much time they have and what they've learned.
hmm hmm So someone says, tap, tap. I hear you
Tap
can
tap.
help. What does that look like? So we're gonna get into how we can help and how you can help, and then how anyone, I mean, anybody could really do this once you learn how to
Yeah.
do this and how to read this. So what does that look like?
First off, a lot of clients like do kind of like go off on their own due to like social media ads and things like that and get various gut tests. You know, GI doctors can't do sometimes run other tests like inflammation tests, like calprotectin is a stool test. They run parasite tests, but these are all like individual tests. And you might have like 3 or 4 things that they can test for. And like a lot of times they'll come back negative. Or it'll be like you have some inflammation in your gut. It's like, okay, cool. Like, what do I do there? Like they can give you some, I guess, anti-inflammatories maybe. But you know, there are also these other tests that a lot of clients come in with, like biome is one. It's a test. It gives you information, but it's super high level. It's gonna say like, you know, you have possible bad bacteria. It's like, cool. Like what am I gonna do with that? And
Right.
then it gives you a list of like 300 foods and says you should eat more of this and less of that. And it's like how I've got like food sensitivity tests done. I've done a bunch of these tests like in a past life and things like that. If I have a list that of like 300 things and it says like, you know, eat more of this, eat less of this, don't eat this, eat more of that, da da da. Like what? I'm not going to put like 4 sheets of paper on my fridge and then be like, "Oh, I really feel like eggs for breakfast. Let me hang on. Shoot, can't have eggs. All right, cool.
People do
I
that.
guess I'll have like turkey bacon. Nope, can't have turkey bacon.
I feel like people do that though because they're searching for that structure, they're searching for answers, and they literally will do that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's not their
And
fault. It's just like what they think that they need.
there's like 2 ends of the spectrum. There's the people that are like that, like OCD about it, good, bad, or indifferent. And then there's the others, just like the fuck it people that are like, I just like, you know, I can't like worry about this and I don't have the time or whatever and or energy or mental space to worry about this. So like, you know, this is just like analysis paralysis. Like, give me something that can help. I'm a firm believer in the fact that like it's not a food issue. Like all of these things make it out to be like a food issue. It's
Mhm.
not a food issue. It's actually a you issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a gut issue. Like and it's nothing you did wrong, like arguably, but like, you know, it's nothing you did wrong. It's actually inside of your body that is the problem. And so when we start to have, you know, imbalances of good and bad bacteria, we start to have overgrowth, we start to have structural things like low stomach acid, low pancreatic enzymes, leaky gut or intestinal permeability, inflammation in the digestive tract, low good bacteria, not enough, you know, fiber, not enough fermentable things, not enough butyrate, short chain fatty acids are lacking, things like that. We start to get like disruption in your gut microbiome. So then you start throwing some of this food down there that can be disruptive and your body can't handle it. And we get bloating, we get constipation, we get diarrhea, we get, you know, reflux, we get brain fog, we get inflammation, we get joint pains. I can keep going, weight loss resistance. And
When you say
so,
brain fog, sorry, when you say
yeah,
brain fog, a lot of people tie that to hormone issue, which it can be, but we what do we say? It always comes back to the gut.
we kind of went full circle. I mean, years and years ago, they always said like leaky gut is, you know, is contributing to brain fog, or like gluten is contributing to brain fog, probably because that gluten is affecting your gut. And, you know, then it evolved into like, well, brain fog is due to falling estrogen or low testosterone or low thyroid output or whatever. But what, you know, what causes, hormonal imbalances, not getting enough raw materials from your food, like digestion, absorption, not being able to synthesize hormones in your gut, all those things.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you, but that was really important.
Yeah. No, I mean, and so anyways, we got some tests out there that are just like too high level. We've
Yeah.
got lots of conditions going on. We've got structurally something's wrong, and we got everybody thinking the food is the problem.
Mhm.
It's actually our digestive tract. So there are a couple different tests that I think are good. We generally always talk about the GI map, but there are other good tests. It's just the GI map is what I've been using for reasons. And what we teach in like GHMC, and we teach our cohorts like how to understand it and help the clients understand it and interpret it and what types of things that your clients can use and things like that to get past some of these issues. There's also like GI map is diagnostic solutions. Genova has a GI effects. Have
Hmm.
you ever seen one of those?
I have not.
So it's Genova Diagnostics GI Effects, I believe. Um, why don't I use that?
Why don't you use it?
Because it's generally a little bit more piecemeal and ends up costing more money. So, like, I believe Genova, don't quote me on this because there might be somebody else that knows exactly better. I believe Genova does not include H. pylori in their standard. They don't include like the leaky gut, just like Diagnostic Solutions doesn't, but they don't include H. pylori. I want to say maybe like parasites are an add-on or something like that. But
So, like,
anyway,
things are like an add-on.
the base is like, a little bit cheaper than like a GI map, but the add-ons get you pretty steep pretty fast.
Interesting.
So, the GI map in its basic form, you can do add-ons and things like that if really necessary, get you pretty much everything you need to know. Whereas the Genova, you got to add on things like that. Both great tests.
It's great
I've
test.
actually both great tests. Yes. So I've actually like gotten a Genova, and then I've also done a GI map on somebody, and they do say similar things.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they are pretty parallel. I've also done GI maps on clients who have like specific tests done by their doctors. So like inflammation, for example, calprotectin is a marker. And the level of calprotectin they had from the doctor, that the actual tests that they did in a lab at the doctor and things like that matched exactly to the GI maps calprotectin.
It's
So
always so validating
yeah,
when you do that.
exactly.
Really.
And your gut microbiome is going to change and stuff like that. But
Sure.
like,
Sure.
day to day, hour to hour. But we get like a snapshot, and like, yeah, when that happens, it's like, okay, well, we could trust these results.
How does it work? So, somebody wants a GI map. What happens next?
I will preface this with like, through GHMC, we like, teach our coaches about, what a GI map means, what the information on it is, how to work with your clients so they understand it, what they can do about their conditions and things like that. So, we enable our coaches we work with to be able to order it. So let's say somebody wants GI map. First we're going to want to get some information like what's going on, form some hypotheses, things like that. And even before we jump into a GI map, there are some, quick at home tests we can recommend. So first off is the baking soda test. Take a half a teaspoon of baking soda, mix it in water, knock it back, like a half a glass of water, half a teaspoon of baking soda. Mix it to water together in a glass. Drink it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Then we're going to count how long it takes to burp. If somebody's having a pretty robust like burp, like not like a little baby burp, within 10 to 20 seconds, there is varying opinions on this, but my
And
opinion of doing this for 2026, 8 years, is that it should be 10 to 20 seconds. And if they have a robust burp, it means you're creating the science experiment in their stomach, and there's probably a good amount of stomach acid there. If it's a little baby burp or it doesn't really happen, or it happens like after 40 seconds, a minute, a couple minutes, probably not enough stomach acids going on.
right. Yeah.
So
That's a great one because anybody can do this.
Mhm.
Most people have baking soda in their home. and they could do it the next morning. And that's a very easy, quick tool just to use with your clients. And also too, your clients feel like, oh, this is cool. This is different. This is like they care. They're going above and beyond. Like that that matters to them.
Yeah. For the coaches out there who are like, how do I get my client to like pay, you know, 4, 5, $600 for a GI map? You know, like, A, you should do it yourself and you should hopefully see
Yeah, you gotta
results.
have conviction in it. Cause then
Yeah.
if you're asking like, I don't have those thoughts of how am I gonna get this person to pay? I'm like, hey, like we should do this. It's this. If they can do it, cool. If not, that's okay too.
Yeah. So hence why we, it's part of our cohort. We
Yeah.
include a GI map or a Dutch test. So that's A, first and foremost. B, we're building the case. Like it's kind of like
Yeah.
if you said to me, like, I want to lose a couple pounds. And I was like, all right, cool. Like you should eat 150 grams of protein and eat less calories. You'd be like, okay, sounds kind of like generic general. Uh you don't are you sure you know what you're, like, talking about? Like, whereas if I was like, "All right, Kayla, so how tall are you? What's your weight? What's your goals? How much do you work out? Okay, you're working out a lot, like, you're building muscle, we gotta preserve body composition, like, you know, I got your age, your height, like, all those things. All right, cool. So you should eat this many proteins, this much fat, this many carbs, and, we're gonna do a test run at that and make adjustments, everything like that." Like, it's kinda like, so there distinctly we see what you should be doing in that case, like, that's and I think all the coaches listening are gonna be like that. But, like, the difference between, like, "Hey, yeah, I hear you have some bloating, you should do a GI map." Client hears, "How much is it?" Client says, "How much is it?" Client hears, "I think you should do this, like, test because, you have bloating and it's like 5, 600 bucks, 4, 5, 600 bucks, whatever." They're gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, all right, sure." Whereas if you're like, "All right, let's do this test. I have a hypothesis that maybe you have some, like, low stomach acid and you have some bloating and things like that. Let's do this test. All right, cool. You have low stomach acid. Now to see the entire picture, let's do this functional test. That's we already know you have a problem, but let's see what the extent is so we can develop the exact plan for
Yeah.
you. We do this test." Those are 2 different scenarios. I think one's gonna be a little bit more successful.
100%. Do you always do a baking soda test before a GI map? Like, how, do you, is that like your rhythm?
You got I mean, I'll do a baking soda test with anybody I suspect has low stomach acid.
Okay.
Sometimes with people, depends on, like, like, if somebody's a wreck and, like, I know the answer is GI map, like, we're gonna on the sales call talk about that, and we're gonna get that ordered ASAP so we can get them relief. If somebody's like, "Yeah, like, I have some digestive issues, body composition, my cholesterol's high, I've got inflammation, I've got joint pain," and it's kinda like, ooh, a lot going on, I'm gonna be
Mhm.
like, "All right, let's start with a couple different, like, at-home tests that don't cost anything.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
look at
Okay.
your labs you got from your doctor. We're gonna
Right.
decide if we need more. We're gonna do the baking soda test. Maybe we'll do a transit time test. So you can use something like corn or something that doesn't digest and have the client swallow it. And transit time from here to the toilet should be like 24 hours. They should see it in the toilet 24 hours. If it takes longer, it means slow transit time, which
Mhm.
could be like maldigestion, it could be blockages, it could be not enough fiber, not enough water, could be inflammation.
Mhm.
If you see it in 12 hours, it's too fast. It means we're not spending enough time to like digest and things like that. But these are a couple like quick and dirty tests to do to encourage your clients to then like I'll do that with some clients who fall into that like kind of category of like, well, I have these different things going on.
Mhm.
And then I'll be like, "Look, your transit time's off. Your stomach acid is off. Why don't like" and I'll throw it back to them. Like, we could try some digestive enzymes. We could try some
Yeah, I like that. We can try all these things. It might take longer.
yeah. But or do you wanna know?
Right. Right. So we can go through you to get it ordered. It's how it typically works. It's an at-home test. So that's nice. A lot of people love that. A lot of people love not having to go to an office, not having to go to a doctor. They just do it in home. They play scientist. I always say, I'm like, you're going to play scientist here. And they test their own stool, shake it, send it off to the lab. And so then at the point where the lab looks at it and gets the results, we get the results back. What does a GI map look for specifically?
Yeah. So I got my little handy
Oh,
dandy.
here we go. We have a visual.
I put on like little theatrics as we can see my daughter colored on this one. This is my demo GI map. But, even when I'm talking to clients, like you pull this up, you show them exactly what they're getting, right? So like there's like gloves in here. You've got a little French fry collection tray, right? You've got, you got this. This has a little scooper in it. Use your imagination. You scoop it in the sample. You shake it up. You got the bags and the mailing stuff and all of that.
Mhm.
So this gets shipped off. It takes about 2 weeks to get the results. And the best way I can describe it is it outlines your entire digestive tract. So it comes back on a sheet of paper, obviously, electronically in like a PDF, and it outlines your entire GI tract. So it looks up here in your stomach. It looks for like H. pylori and bad bacteria in your stomach. We teach our cohort, our students, what different things mean and things like that. There's certain types of bacteria associated with low stomach acid. It maps out your entire gut microbiome in terms of your good bacteria, your bad bacteria, like if there's any overgrowth of bad bacteria or pathogenic bacteria. It looks at yeast forming, species bad guys. It looks at parasites, protozoas, worms, things like that. Um,
Have
you
you
know,
ever seen a worm on a GI
once,
map?
one.
I have not. That's
Yeah. They're a lot rarer than you would think.
Is it like, what are the side effects of that? Like, what have you seen correlate to that?
Have you ever had, has your dog ever had worms?
You see it in your stool?
Ken, yeah.
Okay. Mm,
Stringy.
okay. Got it.
Now, there are
A lot of
certain
people think
things
that's like
like,
a parasite, but that's like worm.
yeah. And whereas protozoas are like microscopic organisms, you're not gonna see anything. Yeah, but like, it's crazy. Like, you ever have those like konjac noodles or whatever, like the miracle noodles? Have you ever seen
Yeah.
those?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
those.
It's
Yeah,
great.
some people mistake those. A lot of times they will come out without
Wow. Okay.
digestion.
Okay.
That
I
could
was
be another transit time test option.
Yeah. Yeah. Noodles. That's what some people are eating for their pasta. That's so gross.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever, if you listen to this, will ever buy them ever again now if they were. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I just want to see if you saw any worms. I've never seen one.
Once. Yeah.
Is it the same like approach for a parasite?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably going to be more potent in terms of like antimicrobials plus some biofilm disruptors. Thinking back, I believe we got it taken care of. I mean, you might need to refer to a doctor to go get antibiotics,
Mm, yeah.
and they might do further testing and things like that. I think I did refer them to definitely go get just like some further testing and stuff, but um
Interesting.
so they're not as common as you think. And it's even like I even see like sometimes like on Instagram these GI places come up, like colonic places or whatever come up, and they'll make you think that like everybody has worms and you need a colonic to get them out and stuff like that, which first of all, like a colonic isn't going to take care of parasites. A colonic is they send water up there and clear
Hmm.
everything out.
Hmm.
And second of all, it's going to mess up your gut microbiome, just like overuse of laxatives and things like that. So anyway, the GI map outlines all of that. So it also has some like structural like digestive tract markers. So it looks at your fat digestive enzymes or like your pancreatic enzymes. It looks at fat in the stool, like a percentage of the stool, which is fat. We want that low because that means it gets all absorbed. If it's higher, it's not getting absorbed. Could have like hormone implications, loose stool, things like that. It looks at inflammation. So like calprotectin. It looks at a gluten marker, anti-gliadin.
Hmm.
It looks at secretory IgA, which is like a marker for we all have this mucus lining of our gut. It's like the mucus you have in your nose, and it lines our whole gut, and it helps protect the cells from like food and
Mhm.
bacteria and stuff like that. It's also your immune system. So they say about 80% of your immune system's in your gut. Many times I
Yeah.
see it degraded in people who get sick all the time.
Yeah.
And then it also has like other immune markers like associated with histamine.
Right.
It tells
Yeah.
you if there's blood, it tells you estrogen excretion and metabolism.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it's like loads and loads of information. Now, a lot of these things you can get done piecemealed from like a GI doctor, like the inflammation. They can measure anti-gliadin, they can measure parasites, but nobody's mapping out your gut microbiome. Like that's what this is. This is a gut microbiome mapper plus all these other markers. So it's a one-stop shop, really.
Yeah. It's also a really sensitive test too, so it's pretty sensitive. I've had people say, "Oh, they tested for H. pylori in the doctors and it didn't come up. Why
Yeah.
is it coming up here?"
Because it's sensitive. It's gonna pick up every it's a PCR test. So
Mhm.
if we think back to COVID 6 years
Mhm.
ago, which is
Mhm.
crazy,
Mhm.
they had the antigen test and the PCR test.
Mhm.
The antigen was kind of like, are you like spitting out the viral load everywhere all over the place?
Mhm.
Then it would come back positive. The PCR test was if there is any virus whatsoever in your body, it's coming back positive. So that PCR test for like months sometimes would show up as positive.
Mhm. Got it.
So
Okay.
it's super, super sensitive.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So it seems like a lot. It seems really overwhelming just oh my gosh, all this information. But once you do it yourself, honestly, a lot of young, active, healthy, fit people have gut issues. And we're seeing that a ton, right, John? Like so many fitness coaches, just because of all the stress and just the eating, like, because you eat pretty well. And so when something is off. And so you're like, "Hey, like, something is off, like, this needs to get checked out because I know my diet's pretty good."
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And then just, like I said, the stress and over time, like, leaky gut's a really big one, but it all seems really overwhelming, but once you do it yourself, once you're in the cohort actually going through examples of what all of these mean, the more reps that you do, the better at it you're going to get. Now, let's say you don't come into GHMC and you don't have access to this, there's people out there who do consults. You can go directly through Diagnostic Solutions themselves. They're out there, but the crazy thing is like you could also be one of those people and you could also do really well and be that resource for your clients. All you got to do is just, continue to learn and apply.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, in the cohort, we teach you all about this stuff, what it means, what protocols look like, things like that. All you're going to be doing for your clients is enabling them to order tests,
Mhm.
enabling them to understand them, enabling them to go order their supplements or whatever that can help with it. So, like, again, you're educating, giving them information. It's the same idea as, even with like food, we're not like prescribing like meal plans because of their certain conditions or whatever. It's giving them information on different things that they could go try. That's what a coach is, right? Like you're enabling them to improve their knowledge and improve their health and partnering with them to, be an advocate for their health.
So I think this was a great place to wrap up. If you're a coach looking to diversify your knowledge, your application in gut health, hormone health, we are launching our next cohort April 6th. So by the time this comes out, just a few more weeks into the launch date, which is really exciting. And we've got 12 weeks of support calls and a WhatsApp chat. John and I's mission is for you not to leave feeling like you need another certification or you leave feeling like, what the heck did I just even listen to or learn? That you're very confident. You're very confident. And our students so far have given that good feedback of like everything makes sense and it's a very digestible mentorship. So
Yeah,
that's the goal.
you can go from not knowing what a hormone is to being able to help your clients with their hormone issues.
Boom. Mic drop. Perfect. Exactly. Exactly. And I think that has happened.
Yeah,
Truly.
for sure.
Oh, all right, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
See you later.